Welcome back, David Ward with Martian Mathematics, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a quiz in Google Classroom. So we're going to go to Classwork and we're going to create an assignment, but we're going to create a quiz assignment. And that's going to automatically create a blank quiz in our Classroom folder. Now I could title it here if I wanted to. We'll call it just maybe Quiz 2. We'll make it a quiz, naturally, and we'll make it do, I don't know, we'll just select a date here, Friday the 17th. And it'll also be part of lesson 1. Okay, so once we've done that, let's go ahead and click on blank quiz. And that's going to open it up in a separate window where we can now rename it. And I'm going to name it, well actually I have to show you what I like to do. Name it up here. Quiz 2, and then if you go up here and you delete this, it'll say untitled form. If you click it again, it's going to automatically take on whatever you have in the title bar here. This is a sample quiz. Now I advise to always have the first question be name. Of course you need to spell it correctly, name. It's going to automatically convert to a short answer question, and I would hit the required button. Now there's no points for this, obviously, because you don't usually get points for writing your name. And there's no answer key entry that needs to be made here either, because it could be anyone's name. This will help you identify your students' grades when you go and look in the response form if you have more than one student. It'll help keep that organized. So after that, we're going to go and we can either create a section or we can go ahead and start with the question. So I'm going to go ahead and create a section. I'm going to call that just, the first section. Maybe we call it like this, addition. And then you can describe it however you want. Addition problems. Okay, now this plus sign here is add question. So if I click that, it's going to generate a brand new question for me. Now let's start off with some short answer questions. So we'll ask some stuff like, what is 3 plus 2 equal to? Now click on this here and just change it to short answer. Then go to the answer key and go ahead and type in the answer. So that'll be 5. Mark all other answers incorrect, and by default I have mine set up where it'll give 1 point per question, but you can change that right here in this entry. If you want to add some answer feedback, you can. I don't generally, but that would be the place to do it. Another thing you can do is you can validate responses. So if you click the 3 dots down here next to the required button, you'll see response validation, various choices, text, length, regular expressions. This is a number, obviously, and we're going to choose numbers that are whole numbers. And if they don't give a whole number, then you can just say something like whole numbers, please. Or whole numbers only, please. Now, instead of hitting the button to create a new question, what's often useful to do is to duplicate this format here, because maybe the next question is going to be very similar to this one. It would be another addition problem. In that case, you want to hit the duplicate button. That's going to preserve the point value and the response validation here and the answer type. So we can just change it up. We can make it 5 plus 2, and then obviously we do have to go into our answer key and adjust the answer to match, but the point value will stay the same. I can show you that. Actually, let's change the point value to 2 points for this one, so that when we duplicate the question again, we'll see that, and we'll make it, maybe 7 plus 2 this time, sticking with the odd numbers. Answer key, you see it's still 2 points, so it preserves whatever it was in the last question. Okay, so that's it for those questions there. Let's create a new section. Let's call it subtraction. Subtraction problems. Okay, and we'll add a question. Now, if we wanted to use the same format here, what we could have done is we could have duplicated another question, and then we could have dragged it, I'm not sure what the right use of that is, down here like this, and reuse that question. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, because in this case I'm going to make it multiple choice. So let's do 10 minus 2 equals, and we'll have a multiple choice. It automatically added response validation, but it also converted it to a short answer. But I want to create a multiple choice. Maybe we could give the 10, 8, and 6. Go to the answer key, select the correct answer, and be done with it. Another type of choice that you got are drop downs. So this is another single answer question, so this time I'll make it 8 minus 2. And the options that we'll have, well, I guess we'll stick with the same ones that we had before, but this time it's going to be a drop down menu when the question is asked. We'll of course need to change the correct answer to this one. And then finally I'm going to create a last section. I'm going to call this the feedback section. Your opportunity to tell me what you think of this quiz. Add question. What did you think of this quiz? And that will probably require a paragraph answer, because they're going to have more to say than what you can just write in a single line or two. Obviously you can't select any right answers here, but you could, thanks for your feedback. So there we go. We have the quiz complete now, I think. I'm not going to discuss any of these other features here. You can add images to questions if you want. So for example, I could add an image to this question. You could upload something. You could I'm going to do a Google image search and we'll find an image, I don't know, eagle. There we go, an eagle. Why an eagle, I don't know. But there's going to be an eagle at the beginning of this section. Now that's a little bit large, I think, so I'm going to scale it back. Thank you. Okay, so there's our quiz. Let's do a quick preview of it to see how it looks when a student would take it. So they would get here, and it has the required question name. So I'll type in my name. Let's see if I can get these right. You'll notice it tells you the point value next to these questions. Oops. And then here's the drop-down menu. You see how it differs from the multiple choice. You click on it and you have your selection that you can choose from, like that. I thought it was great. Maybe an exclamation point. And then we could hit submit. And then of course you could view your score. I'm sure I did fine. Uh-oh, what did I miss? Oh, I do it. It was 1 point for that question, but it hasn't been graded yet. Now let me show you how to remedy that. Close these windows down. We're back here in the quiz. We see the response that we had. We can go into that response. We see this is for the individual David, which is me. And we can go down and look at that last question, look at the feedback and say, you know what, I'm going to award 1 point for that. That's a full point. save that. It's now saved it to the score so that their score is now 8 out of 8, as you can see right here. Let's look at some of the settings. So if we go into the, sorry, I forgot to point that out to you. I'm going to go to the gear up here, click on that. For a Google Classroom, don't click on collect email addresses. It'll mess things up. So don't touch that one. That's if you're doing like a web form that you want to get responses from, then you can collect email addresses, but don't do it on Google Classroom. For whatever reason, it really messes things up badly. Now you can limit, if this was a test, say the test at the end of the week, for example, you might want to limit it to one response. But if this is a homework assignment where you really want them to work on the problems so they can get them all right, then you might not want to limit it to one response. But if that's the case, you want to maybe let them edit it after they submit it. That's what this is about here, so they can go back in and edit their test. So they take it, they do their homework, they submit it. It says, oh, you missed 4 problems. You can then go and you'll have a choice to edit after you're done. See summary charts and text responses. That's not important. Presentation. You can shuffle the question order. You can also show a progress bar. And you can show a link to submit another response if it's permitted that they take do the homework again. But that would be a completely different response, and it's not the same thing as editing a response. And then quizzes, make this a quiz, keep that checked. Release grades immediately after each submission or later after manual review. That's up to you. I always leave it immediately after each submission. That way my kids know how they did. And I usually let them see missed questions, correct answers, except if it's a homework thing and I want them to keep trying it until they get them all right, in which case I'll uncheck this box so they can't just look and see what the answer is, go back and add it in later. Point values, well, yes or no, doesn't matter. They'll be able to see how many points each question is, but let's just leave it like that. Let's do one more. We'll preview it again. This time I'll take it as a separate person. I'll be Sally. Then we'll just enter our answers in again. Whoops. Not to impugn Sally, but that's not right. It was fine. And then submit. I'm not going to look at my score this time, but instead I'm just going to go straight to the form where you're going to look at the responses, and you'll see if you go to individual, then you'll see you have 2 individuals who responded to this. The first one is David, and the second one is Sally, and then you can see how they did on that. And obviously I haven't given Sally any credit for her response here. I'll go ahead and award full credit on that. Save it. There. So what a great class I've got. Both students got 8 out of 8 points. The last thing I'll touch on is the little palette you see here next to the preview icon. This allows you to select theme options. So you can change the color palette of things. Maybe something like this, or a bright orange maybe, subtle blues. I kind of like that one. Then background color you can change. You have different options that you can select from. And then you can select the font style, decorative, which is probably better for a survey or something, formal, and then playful is nice as well. I like playful a lot. I think I'll keep playful for this one. And I think that is it. The only other thing is this button here is to move it to a folder. So by default, it's going to stick it in, well, okay, I see it actually did stick it in Martian Mathematics, but I might want to move it to Lesson 1 and store it there. Don't worry about that message, it'll be fine. Okay, and then if I go back to this, it should eventually update blank quiz to be the new title for it, and I can go ahead and assign that to my class. And that way when a student were to log in, I think I can simulate that here real quick. Or maybe not. Here we are. updated stream. Yeah, they'll see the new assignment, quiz 2. And now they can take that test. Okay, so that's how you make a quiz or a homework assignment or anything like that. There's quite a bit of functionality to play with. Using images as part of the question is something that I do a lot of, especially in the Martian Mathematics Level 1 curriculum. So here's an example of a quiz where an image is used as part of the question. So how many minutes past the hour? And you have a picture of a clock here, and you have to choose the correct answer. And here's another example where images are used as part of the quiz. This is in week 4 of Martian Mathematics Level 1, where we're using stamps to identify place value. And in this case, you actually answer in stamps. Well, I guess not always, but some of these you answer in stamps, where you can copy and paste to generate your answers. Here we are. Copy and paste these to make the answer. So 110 plus 11, you use these stamps here to write the answer down. Okay, well, I think I've said enough about quizzes and how to make them. So I think that's all I'm going to do in this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how to use Google Slides to make other types of exercises that your students can do in class. With the quizzes, you can write answers in, but you can't draw things. With the Google Slides as a homework assignment, you can draw stuff, and I'll talk about how to do that in the next video. Thanks for watching.